Buju Nitine Maganidok, Giganos Indigenous, Neashi Winigimigandonjba, Nigigandodem. I'm grateful to be with you here on this occasion, grateful and honored to be this year's recipient of the Bouchard-Taylor Prize for Excellence in Research Policy. I'm also grateful to the Broadbent Institute for sponsoring this award as a part of its commitment to making Canada a more equal, sustainable, and democratic country. And I have to say, I'm thrilled that through this award, my name will be attached to Charles Taylor's name in some small way. That's because when I was conducting my graduate work over 30 years ago, I really drew quite heavily on his ideas. Professor Taylor cautioned us against ethnocentrism. He warned us against the danger of seeing the world through our own eyes alone. I tried to take his insights to heart. He said that human judgment was at its best when it's social. He wrote that we need others to expand our views and to enhance our understanding. He said we need vocabularies of comparison. And through these vocabularies of comparison, we can see where our own gaps, misunderstandings, and partialities can cloud our thinking. In this way, Professor Taylor urged us to place our stories behind and beside the stories we tell ourselves and put them into conversation with other stories in a way that respects their views and their internal understandings. He called this the work of perspicuous contrast. This idea of vocabularies of comparison or perspicuous contrast has marked my own research, which is trying to bring Indigenous people's own laws and legal traditions into conversation, comparison, and contrast with both the common law and the civil law. Indigenous law is found in the standards and principles and measures and processes and yardsticks that they use, the indicia, the signposts, the guidance that they follow to regulate their affairs and resolve their disputes. This is Indigenous law, following these standards, principles, and processes. And these laws are found in stories and songs, dances, language, customs, traditions, written constitutions, codes, treaties, and other practices rooted in the land, in their clans, and in their communities. In my work, by placing Indigenous law beside Canadian constitutional, legal, and judicial decisions, I've tried to reveal where there are gaps and inconsistencies and contradictions in both Indigenous peoples' legal systems as well as the broader legal system. And in the process, I've tried to, with those gaps, show where bridges can be built and where false assumptions can be torn down. As Indigenous laws are revitalized and Canadian legislative policy and judicial decisions become more receptive to Indigenous legal views, Canadian law is also revitalized in the process. This vocabulary of comparison, this perspicuous contrast, can help us see beyond our own ethnocentricities for both Indigenous and non-Indigenous peoples. We need these vocabularies of comparison in our laws today to guide our future views, to enhance our views. And I'm really grateful that the Broadbent Institute's commitment to recasting political conversation encourages this kind of open discussion about the policies and actions which will improve both Indigenous communities and Canada more generally. And so I am grateful to be associated with this award, with this year's Charles Taylor Prize for Excellence in Research, and I pledge my continued efforts to improving both Indigenous people's own laws and broader Canadian law, and looking to ways to enhance and better the relationships between them. So thank you so much for this award. And again, I express my gratitude.